In this bonus episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk about sense memory, vintage recipes, the value of literature, being caught in cycles, invasive blackberries, making Millie Bobby Brown's life easier, and favorite fonts in our discussion of 6 times we almost kissed and 1 time we did with Tess Sharpe. Hey everybody, welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult books, series, authors, and voice actors that is full of spoilers. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire, and today we're going to talk to Tess Sharpe, author of 6 times we almost kissed and 1 time we did.
Oh, enjoy! Claire, is it time?
It is time. It is time for Would You Rather. Pew, 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 pew.
Pew, 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 pew. I can do pew, pew, pew.
There's another pew pew!
There's another voice! Who could that be? Who could it be?
Yay! Oh, we're so excited to be joined by author and narrator of this audiobook, Tess Sharpe. Yay! Thanks for joining us!
Thanks for having me.
It's the best.
This is very exciting.
We love it when authors join in, and we love it when authors are narrators too. Yay!
Yes.
It's such a fun thing to do.
Oh, I love it so much. All right, Claire, what is our first question?
Our first question, right, it's a big one. It's a big one. Would you rather eat green Jell-O or red Jell-O? And please note it hurts my British heart to say Jell-O. It's jelly.
No.
Green jelly
Oh,
or
is
red
that what
jelly?
you guys call it over there? I did
Yes.
not realize
It
that.
hurts my heart
makes
every
more
time.
sense.
Jell-O. What is Jell-O? Jell-O. Jelly. It's jelly. Green Jell-O jelly or red Jell-O jelly. And resoundingly, across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok, everybody is having red jelly. Jell-O.
I have to admit that I go with the crowd. I am a red Jell-O person too. The lime kind of tastes chemically to me, like it's a little too fake.
It all tastes chemically.
That's
There's
true.
nothing. You know the packet says natural flavours? Nah.
That's the hooves.
We suspect that's not true.
Yeah.
Categorically not true. Roundtree's is lying to me.
Oh, so we have some pretty good comments, right?
Yeah, so this might persuade you on the reason why you have that particular flavour. Colin on Facebook said, red to eat, green to wrestle in. I don't make the rules, I just enforce them.
That's amazing.
Bree on Facebook says, red is the color of every best flavor. Cherry, strawberry, watermelon, always red.
That's a good point.
I think that is an excellent point now that that's been said. Annie on Facebook said, I say green for St. Patrick's Day, although red does have the hashtag vampire book club vibes. Himself says green because it's normally citrus flavour, while red is random ass whatever sugary sweet nastiness Jell-O decides on.
That's true. I was thinking when I was writing this book, I'm like, is it cherry or is it strawberry? Do I need to like make some Jell-O to see? And then I forgot about it and didn't do my research.
Oh, Lydia on
Depends what
Facebook says
alcohol you use.
no Jell-O ever, ew. Which that option C. There is no option
It can't
C.
be a texture thing. I can understand if you don't like the texture of it, if it was like really gross.
Yeah. Ugh.
Well, Vincent agrees neither of them. He says they're both evil. However, Emily says I would eat both.
Yeah.
Is that option D?
That's option D. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm confused now.
Constance on Facebook says red all the way. The best flavors, hands down.
Oh, and Lessa on Facebook said, my mother, before she passed, told us when we see green Jell-O, we will know she is okay. My best friend brought green Jell-O to the luncheon after the funeral. She didn't know what my mom had said, and that is absolutely beautiful.
Oh my God, that's so touching. My goodness.
That's
I think that food
precious.
can really bring memories of loved ones and moments that have passed us really strongly.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I remember very clearly. My grandmother made this special salad dressing, and she passed away when I was 15. And I like tried to duplicate the salad dressing over and over and over again, and I couldn't figure it out until I realized, like 5 years later, that the red wine vinegar that she used, the specific brand, had a garlic kind and a regular kind. And so I finally made the dressing with the garlic red wine vinegar, and I swear I sat down on my kitchen floor and I cried because it actually tasted the way it was supposed to.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Like it was such a moment. So that is such a touching story to me. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I love that.
A lot of people say like sense memories and smells, isn't it? But it is also very much in food. Everything's in food.
Definitely.
I'm such a foodie, so yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so look, while we're talking about Jell-O, okay, or jelly, Claire.
Thank you. Thank you.
In our main episode earlier, Claire had a bit of something to say about the lemon cake with the Jell-O added to it.
I didn't use the word abomination, but I did think it.
You thought.
You will think that until you try it. I know it
sounds
crazy. I have the recipe. I will send it to you. It's my Uncle Richard's recipe. It's been in my family for so many years. It's something about the Jell-O water. It's not actual, like you substitute the cake mix water with Jell-O water, basically, and it makes it taste so much more lemony.
If you send me that recipe, Tess, I will make it, and that is the only exception. I said in the main episode to Amanda I would never make it, but if you send it to me, I will make it. And
I will say the glaze on the cake makes it. It's just lemon juice and powdered sugar, but it like hardens beautifully around the cake.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Sounds delicious.
I will send you the recipe, and I will send you a snapshot of the recipe card that has her my grandmother's spidery handwriting in it.
Yeah, we need that. We need that for sure. We need
I will make it. I will bake it. It will be.
Yes, and you will have to tell me if you like it, and it's totally okay to be honest.
You see, the thing is though, I love lemon cake, like absolutely adore lemon cake, so there's a very good chance I'm going to like it anyway. I can't get my head around the use of it feels so 70s, you know. I'm
assuming that's where it came from, because she was a 1950s housewife, and my Uncle Richard back then, and like she actually ended up divorcing my abusive grandfather and then living with my mom in college and funding her punk rock band. My grandmother was a very cool lady. But yeah, it's totally like a lot of her recipes are of that time, and I love collecting vintage cookbooks because they're always so weird, you guys. So weird. There's this one called Being Bold with Bananas that just has some like truly phallic recipes that is just like, no, you guys.
I have a Dracula cookbook which I recently acquired from a secondhand shop, and it's literally falling apart, and it's just lots of beetroot to make everything red. I had to buy it because Amanda and I are just obsessed with vampires. We have the vampire book club and everything, and it's just this preciousness of ridiculous recipes inspired by Dracula.
Vintage recipes fascinate me as a food person who worked in the food industry for 7 years before she went into writing. Like, it's crazy to see, like, especially back then, because they were so obsessed with like the innovativeness of canned foods. And so you have like the Campbell's food book where you're like, let's put SpaghettiOs in a gelatin mold and then eat it cold. I'm like, what are you guys thinking?
No,
have you seen?
Stop it.
I'm sure I've talked to you about this already, Amanda, but it's the tomato soup cake.
Yes.
Yeah. What? Weird.
I don't know.
And you like have to wonder, like, did they actually make this stuff? Or was it just like, you know, this like fad cookbook? But I think that they did make some of this stuff, having gone through my grandmother's recipe box from that time. And I'm like, wow. Oh.
Yeah. The one thing I always remember, and I've definitely told this to Amanda before because I remember the expression you gave me, and you're like, Claire, shut up, it's too British. And my aunt still to this day does it, and any kind of family gathering, she makes the buffet. And she cooks sausages, regular sausages, slits them down top to toe, and then pipes in cheesy mashed potato. That's
That's so sweet, though. It's like her signature dish.
It's just weird.
I mean, I would eat it. It sounds
it's delicious,
like it
though,
looks...
but it's
that
so...
too, probably.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's so freaking 70s. You just can't look at it and go,
It is.
what?
It is so 70s. They love to like put things in things.
They did love to put things in things. Oh.
But I swear to God, it's the first thing that goes at a family buffet.
I love it.
I'm sure they're delicious.
That's fabulous.
Have we answered this question?
I did. Well, yes. I would definitely. I am with the consensus. I think that I like red better. Though now I'm like curious if red is cherry or strawberry, and now I think I might have to get some Jell-O and find out.
I think
I have both. I have strawberry and I've got raspberry down in like my kitchen, and they both turn a bit of a red. If you want, you can put vodka in jelly and make it go hard. You just can't use a lot. I've done some like the sunset palette before using orange and reds and stuff.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It takes a long time. Days. Literal days.
It does. I know it takes forever for the gelatin to set.
And I mean, is it worth it in the end? We spray cream and sprinkles on top. Nice.
Yeah, that's that Jell-O was a big thing for me when I was a kid. You know, first diagnosed diabetic, and I had to have all of the sugar-free stuff all the time. So that was a good dessert because it was still kind of sweet, and we would put whipped cream on top because it doesn't have much carbs in either. So, yeah, any Jell-O, I don't care. I'll eat all of it. It doesn't matter what color it is.
No,
I'll eat any of it.
I'm not racist to jelly, and putting fruit in it. Do you ever make Jell-O and put like tinned fruit in it?
That's how my grams used to make it. She always put pineapple at the bottom. Yeah, and I don't, adding that texture would probably kill the texture people too as well. But it was super fun. I always loved when she added fruit to it.
Yes. I've made jelly with yogurt as well, which is a weird, it turns it into it's kind of moussey, but you know where a mousse is aerated, this is not. Probably more
I'm gonna have to try that. That's really intriguing to me.
Yeah, you don't put the full amount of. You still need water, but you can substitute some of the water with yogurt, and that's quite interesting. So if you wanted to make like a very sugar-free kind of trifle, you use your sugar-free jelly, and then you use more Jell-O on the top, but with yogurt. There you go.
And you were offended by putting it in a cake.
Yes.
I should have specified though. It's just the lemon flavored water. You basically just put the Jell-O into like the water that you need for the cake, and then it just magically flavors the cake mix because it is a box cake mix. And like I can like feel like everyone who trained me to be a baker, because I used to be a professional baker, like shrieking in my head right now.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I love that cake so much. It's a box cake. You add extra eggs to it, like, and I'm just like, yes, this is my childhood.
Yeah.
Do you know what? There's a cook in the UK called Nigella Lawson. I don't think she's really made it in the US.
Oh no, I love Nigella.
Yeah. She says if it's there, you use it. If you can get it from a box, it's fine. Do it. I mean, obviously she does advocate making a cake, but if it's a box cake, she'll still turn around and go, "No, it's fine." And then there'll be
I made
salacious videos about midnight eating it.
Years and years. So like the idea of a box cake like would horrify everyone that I worked with back in the day. I made everything from scratch. It was crazy, but it was super fun time.
Oh yes, I'm gonna make that cake. When you send me that recipe, I will.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I mean, at least I'll have cake at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Okay, next question.
Yes, please.
Would you rather competitively swim or kayak whitewater rapids?
Quite a question. Oh. Different levels of danger there.
What are you going to do?
I know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say competitively swim, because the idea of, I'm not a strong swimmer, so competitively swimming would be fun, like actually being, sleek and lean and healthy and knowing how to do a breaststroke. Breaststrokes elude me. Whitewater rapids just freak me out. That kind of like being underwater and not, it's terrifying. Yeah. No, don't.
I will admit that I am a competitive. I was a competitive swimmer. One of the reasons I put it in this book. So I would choose that as well. I have kayaked a few times, but I admit that like it can be scary because you're kind of trapped in the boat in a way that you're not with rafting. I would totally whitewater raft when you're like in a group of people in a big raft, but the kayaks, it's just you and it requires so much skill, and I don't have the ab strength to flip myself back if I flipped under.
No, that is just terrifying.
I like kayaking though. I think I'm gonna pick kayaking. I feel like
the daredevil of our group.
yeah, that's me. I'm definitely
if you
gonna kayak.
on your lake's placid.
Yes, I do live on a placid lake. It's fine. And I will kayak all around it, but I don't know. I like the idea of being in the river too. I mean, we used to float the river when we lived in Washington. We used to float the river all the time. So, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be fine.
I find that interesting that you did that in Washington. I didn't realize that floating was something that was like out. I've seen a lot of it talk about it in like Texas and stuff. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, we lived in a suburb of Seattle, and there was a river just right like in our backyard. So it was very calm though as well. So we
No, I've had such interesting reactions to the water sports in this book because I didn't really like clock that rafting and whitewater sports were like unusual because I grew up on a river my entire life. And then I get all these like interview questions like, why did you choose this? It's, it's such an interesting sport. It's so unusual. And I was like, is it really? And then I thought about it and I was like, oh yeah, not everybody lives near a river. It's not that normalized, but like here, that's why I was interested to hear about the floating, because for some reason we don't have a floating culture here. I think it's because our river is too fast, but we do have a big white river and boating culture where we're from.
Yeah.
No, the river in my city is just too polluted.
Oh.
It's huge. It's a massive river, and I don't think there probably is. If you go further upstream, there will be where into the Lake District area where it starts, but it's. In my city, no.
Oh, that's no fun.
No. Next question. Would you rather your collective noun be an unkindness or a murder?
Oh, wow.
And I'm going to tell you, Amanda wants both.
I do want both. I am an unkind murder. 100%.
I'm a murder mystery writer, at my core. So I would have to choose a murder. Though I admit that I love the unkindness of Raven because I loved One Tree Hill growing up. And that's what Lucas Scott calls his book at the end, which is like such a literary fiction fuckboy title. And that's what Lucas Scott is, so that makes sense. I actually just did a whole rewatch of One Tree Hill, and I was like, wow, this is a crazy show.
Yeah.
What are you picking,
murder.
Claire?
I'm going with murder because being an unkindness, I don't, one of the tenets of Fictional Hangover is don't be a garbage person.
Right.
And if I'm unkindness, then I feel like I'm a garbage person. I don't want to be. I'd rather be a murderer.
Yeah. Which doesn't make you a garbage person at all.
No, it's justifiable murder.
Justifiable murder.
I would homicide Lottie, for example.
I mean,
right.
Normally I do kill the terrible parents in my books.
You missed one.
It sounds like you killed.
She's much more nuanced than the others.
It sounds like you killed the good one.
Oh God, I did kill the good one in this one. Like my literary agent jokes that whenever there's a good father in my books, he knows that he's always going to die.
Oh. You have a tell.
I do have a tell. I have some habits.
And he was a good communicator, and he cared and remembered every single birthday. Dead.
He was such a good dad. Like poor George. I had to kill him.
And you put him in the ground.
I know.
What's wrong with you?
Injustice after injustice. Justice for George.
Talk about bad habits, actually. That is actually another recurring thing in my books. It actually is in my debut as well. The murder victim gets buried and the heroine is her secret girlfriend. And she has a big objection to her being buried because because the love interest was scared of the dark. So that's something that actually just occurred to me, that I have a weird habit about that. I think it's probably because I don't want to be buried myself.
So what are you doing? You don't want to be buried.
I like the idea of like being turned into a tree, which I guess is kind of like being buried, but
I
like
want to do that too.
Yeah, I think that would be really like beneficial, kind of a way to give back to the earth after taking so much from it as a human being. You know? Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of the body farms. I read a book about it. It's very interesting.
I have a friend who worked at one. She is my go-to person for all body decomposition questions.
I love that.
Nice. I was watching do you have Horrible Histories in America? There was a series of books written about called Horrible Histories, and it covers the entirety of history, and it's all the weird things, especially poo.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. I'm going to look that up when I'm done with this podcast.
Terry Deary, Horrible Histories. They are technically children's books, but when I was a kid, I loved them, and now my son's into them. But there's a BBC TV programme on it as well, so if you get BBC in the US, you use the TV, and it's great. And there was a person, I wish I could remember the name, it'll be in my search history, but he was obsessed with death and he wanted to demystify it, and he's now in University London. His skeleton is in a cupboard in John Botham, I want to say it is. His skeleton's inside the University of London in a booth, and it's dressed up in his clothes with his wax head. It's cool. I want to say it's John Botham, but I might be wrong. I'm going to have to check my search history. But yeah, I was like, yes. But it's also a little Oddfellows, if you've ever, come across them. It's a little Oddfellows.
All right. Are we on question 4? I feel like we've been talking for so long that we should be like done with Would You Rather already. This is amazing.
This is what happens
when
Would You Rather.
We're getting sidetracked.
I know, it's perfect.
Fine. It's fine.
This is every episode of Fictional Hangover. It's fine. Would you rather be a professional artist or own a rafting company?
Professional artist.
I would say professional artist as well. Like the rafting company just seems like so much liability. Like, and so much responsibility. Like you're literally keeping people alive. Like I think about the rafting trips that I went on when I was a kid, and I'm just like, this must have been stressful for my mother, me, a child who like ran towards the water whenever I saw it. Like almost drowned like 3 times before she taught me how to swim. Like, and like all of that. Like, and I remember on one of our rafting trips, the raft got punctured and we ended up having to like bail out, and we ended up having like to like walk to the drop off point or something. So funny.
That is terrifying.
Thank goodness for life jacket.
I guess I'm gonna join you guys. I'll be a professional artist too.
No rafting for us.
Yeah, I mean, I'll raft versus competitively swim, but I mean, I will make art instead of owning the company.
I wish I was more artistic. I am the only one in my family that can't even like draw a straight line. I'm just like terrible stick figures.
Well, but you create, beautiful like works of fiction. So
no, I am. I'm rarely the creative one in a family of activists. So I'm like the weird one who writes her little books and they're off doing things that are actually important.
No, writing books is important too.
No. We will not have you say that. Let's get rid of this last question and then let's dive back into that one.
Yeah, we need to.
Would you rather have a 6-foot wood-carved bear statue or a non-destroyed piece of stained glass art? You can just go for one-word answers on this one. It's
the bear statue, hands down. I love the bear statue.
I want the bear statue on my front garden. I want it just to stare at everybody as they come through the door.
Yeah, we love.
Do you guys have chainsaw art in England?
Yes.
UK, do you guys have that, or is it a weird American thing?
No,
yeah, you do.
All
okay,
over this. Yeah. I have many pictures of on my phone.
I was wondering. No. I was worried that was a thing that was going to not translate, because I discovered with my first book, you guys don't have bounty hunters in the same way that we do. And that was a weird fact about the UK that I learned in my first book.
No, you need bounty hunters.
No, we don't.
You need them. Yeah, you need bounty hunters.
Them. They don't have the carceral system that we have, though. That's the thing. Is like the American prison system is so messed up.
Yeah,
like, it should be abolished.
I agree.
You've got a fairly few broken systems in America. You know, healthcare.
We could do an entire podcast about that.
We could. We definitely could.
It's called Fictional Hangover, and it's when we get on our soapbox. Speaking of soapbox, I think we need to end Would You Rather and get on to this, go back to this conversation.
Yes.
Get back on track.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, no, okay. Yes. You said there was no value in what you do. Amanda, I'm giving you the floor.
I don't believe that. I do not. I think that there's some people who view their writing as activism. I personally don't, partly because I come from activists and I don't like to compare the boots on the ground work that my family does, and the danger that my family can be in because they work in the reproductive justice movement, and that in America is very dangerous.
Yeah,
and so, I'm not dealing with bomb threats. But I will say, as a queer author now in these times of our unprecedented book bannings, it is definitely getting not as dangerous as is for my mom or my sister, but definitely getting dangerous for me too as a public figure, and that's not fun either.
No.
But I am really privileged as a cisgender woman, as a very femme woman, and all of those things. So I try, and as a white woman, let's be real here. So I try to be really cognizant of that. But no, I really believe in the transformative power of literature. I literally would not be alive right now if it wasn't for Laurie Halse Anderson. I read Speak when I was 15 and it saved my life. I was really, really suicidal at that time. And it really gave me this light at the end of the tunnel that I really, really needed. And it was, the transformative piece of literature of my life. And so I promised myself that if I got through all of the shit, that I would dedicate the rest of my life to creating content and creating literature and creating media that did what Laurie's book did for me. Yeah. And so I am very, very passionate about that. But I am just sitting in my bed writing. I'm not boots on the ground, grassroots campaigning the way that my family does. They're very, very hardcore. And so I absolutely compare that. And it's very, very different kinds of, it is activism, but it is a very different kind of activism.
Yeah. I just I'm in Arkansas right now, and I am struggling because we have this ridiculous bill that is unfortunately being passed through all levels of government, and I'm pretty sure it's going to become a law any day now. And they are trying to ban obscene materials in libraries, and they're the law is written that they want to be able to incarcerate librarians for sharing.
Fascism. It's Christo-fascism.
It's awful. It's disgusting, and I hate it.
It's really horrifying. It's really horrifying too, and it's unprecedented. And it's really, I will say, it's very, very disappointing, but not surprising.
Not surprising.
That the publishers are not doing what they need to be doing. These are billion-dollar capitalist organizations that we're talking about. They have lobbyists.
Yeah.
They have people. Yeah. But HarperCollins is giving $7 million to Ron DeSantis, the person who is literally trying to ban all of the other books. And I'm like, HarperCollins, we already are not very happy with you because of your strike and how you've been treating your workers. Maybe do a little better.
Maybe try just a little bit. So I just want to say that
it's a treat.
So if for some reason, which is going to happen, this becomes a law, and your book then is therefore obscene because you have lesbians in, how dare you?
It will happen.
Yes.
There's one kiss in the entire book, and it's going to be obscene.
You pre-warn on the title.
Yeah. Yeah, yes. You are. So, I'll go to jail to put this book in the hands of a kid who needs it, because
it's absolute fascism. It's absolute Christo-fascism, because it's asking us to, and religion is amazing and wonderful. All religions are amazing and wonderful. But when you start saying we all have to follow one, that becomes the problem.
It's not okay. That's not okay.
Very nice, you guys.
No, it's not. Stop
it's so ironic when, America was built because of the religious oppression that they were experiencing.
I will say, though, if you look at it, we were founded on religious fundamentalism. Like, that's really, they were seeking freedom for their fundamentalism. So really what our history of our country really is fundamentalism and genocide, because we went and killed all of the Native Americans because we're horrible human beings.
You're not allowed to mention that, because that paints white people in a terrible light. And, British colonialism is not taught in schools. Not really, no. Yeah. They like to concentrate on World War because that is a victory.
That is your grand moment. Yeah.
Yes, that's
you guys moment. You guys did great fighting the Nazis. Thank you.
We cracked that Enigma code, despite what Hollywood tried to say.
Exactly.
Which is probably why I like the horrible histories, because it does put the poo in the history.
I am so excited about that. I'm going to do a deep dive.
I really hope you enjoy them. They are very fun. But yeah, it's painted. I remember doing Egypt. I remember doing Greece and Roman, and I remember doing World War history at school, and it was nothing to do with colonialism. You've got to learn that as an adult. And then you kind of go, oh shit, white people are horrible.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. We are a genocidal, horrible race of people, and it's like, and we have so much privilege, and it's so baked into everything. It's baked into publishing. It's baked into the world. It's baked into all of these things. No, I think that I was really, really fortunate too. This is one of the reasons that I was really grateful to be homeschooled, because I got a real history from my grassroots activist mother. Like, I remember when I learned about the Underground Railroad, she literally created like an entire, like, we spent an entire semester just on the Underground Railroad. And like, I was obsessed with Harriet Tubman for a really long time. As a child, she was like my hero. And I remember like, things like that were really important to me. And I think that being able to, and this is one of the reasons why the book bans and why the criticism of CRT and this idea of altering history to create a white supremacist state, which is what Ron DeSantis is trying to do in Florida. Like, my heart breaks for the children of Florida. Like, they're going to be completely unprepared for school, but they want to change, prepared for college, but they want to change college as well. Yeah. And I am genuinely afraid they're going to succeed, because there are not enough progressive and liberal people who are willing to fight the way the Christo-fascists are. Even in our own publishing community, we have people, big authors, being like, oh, it's fine, the kids can get the books at the library, they can buy the books if they're banned at school. And it's like, do you remember being a child? You don't have a credit card, you don't have access to lots of money, you have to be driven to the library, which might be as much as 30 minutes away. And so that for me has been really, really disappointing, that we have not been able to rally together the way that we need to. And I will say that Kelly Jensen, Book Riot have been doing a great job on keeping track of book censorship. I highly recommend you follow her on Twitter. She does a roundup like every few weeks about what's happening. It's really depressing, but it's really important for all of us to not only keep track of everything, but to get involved inside your own community, to come to these board meetings, to find out who is being elected to your school board, because it's really, really important. Yeah. And the pandemic absolutely drove people to get more involved in their community politics. And a lot of the people who got involved in their community politics are really, really conservative people who want to enact fascism on all of us.
Yes.
Or I literally could go around on about this all day.
Let's talk about something different then.
Yeah, let's talk about something a little happier.
Although the first thing that we have to talk about is the maternal relationships in this book, because they're bonkers.
Good question.
Let's talk about the good half.
Let's talk about Marion, and let's talk about Anna.
Let's talk about them. No, like, I will say Lottie was my biggest challenge. Like I said, I normally write like really overtly evil characters. Duke McKenna in Barbed Wire Heart is a meth kingpin, and he is the father of our heroine. In The Girls I've Been, Nora's mother, Abby, is pure evil. She literally raises her children to be bait within her con artistry. But Lottie was my biggest challenge because she actually has a reason for being so terrible, but it's not a good enough reason. And it's so hard. It was really hard to write her. It was really, really hard to narrate the confrontation scene. I had to like take a break afterwards and cry for like a good 5 minutes. Yeah. All of the tears that you hear in the narration are real. I never have cried so much in a book. I normally don't cry over my own writing. I'm like my dark shriveled soul just is like whatever.
Are you dead inside like me? I love it. I love it.
Hey, you've had an emotion today, Amanda. You can't see anything.
I did have an emotion because of this book. God damn it.
But no, it was a definite challenge because she abandons her daughter at a time where her daughter desperately needs her. But she abandons her daughter because she's not going to be alive if she doesn't. And that is a realization that Tate has, because Tate is existing in the same space as Lottie, but it's a realization that Penny has to come to. And I don't even know if by the end of the book, Penny has come to that realization. There is a bit of a knowing about the suicidal ideation that's implied in one of the scenes, but it's almost mocking the way, because she's drunk at the time. Yeah. And so I spent a lot of time on Lottie. I had a lot of trouble with Penny at the beginning. I do a lot of pre-writing. I do like a lot of firsts in my characters' lives. I write from a bunch of different point of views, even if it's only a sole point of view in the book. And I had an immediate grasp on Tate. I really understood her. I feel very similar to her in a lot of ways. But Penny really confused me. The first scene that I ever wrote for her was the accident. That was one of the first initial scenes that I wrote for the entire book.
We love that scene, by the way.
So good. It was so good.
And that's the scene that I basically wrote the entire book so that I could write that scene. There's always like one scene in the book that you like write to or for or all of those things. And for me, that was that scene. And so I knew from the beginning that she had PTSD. And so I was like, okay, this is your thing. You have PTSD, you're being denied therapy. And then I just kept writing her, and she kept having really outsized reactions to everything. And I was like, okay, there's something much different going on here. What is wrong with you? Not really what is wrong with you, what is going on with you, basically, because nothing really wrong with her. And I realized that, you aren't just dealing with grief. You aren't just dealing with PTSD. You have an undiagnosed anxiety disorder, and you have obsessive compulsive disorder, and you have a very anti-therapy mother who just does not view those things as helpful because she's scared of confronting her own inner feelings. So she doesn't want her kid to deal with it. She doesn't want to deal with it. And so through the journey of getting to know Penny, I got to know Lottie, basically. I got to see all of the damage. And from that is how I shaped Lottie, kind of. Yeah. And she definitely was one of the challenges of my life, because I have sympathy for her, but I'm also like, what the hell, lady?
That's why you slap a bitch.
Exactly.
That's why you need to slap a bitch.
What the hell? And I like to ask myself, if she hadn't had that support system, like, is she actually, and in part of a way, she is able to do this. She's able to check out of her daughter's life because she has the support system that she does. And I had this very dark question in my head the entire time, which is, what would have happened to Penny if there was no Marion? And it's a really, really dark path we go down.
I honestly think if Marion wasn't there in my little world, Anna stepped up. Anna had that conversation
I think that Anna
she
would
needed
too,
to have with Lottie.
but I think that would be a splintering of their relationship. And I think that's how Anna, and I think that Anna would have done it. And I think that Anna would have absolutely been willing to do it. And I think that also, I've had some people be like, well, Anna should have done more. And I'm like, I agree with that in a way, but at the same time, it really felt to me like Marianne and Anna at one point got together and it's like, okay, I've got the kid, you've got Lottie, we have to keep them alive. And like by any means necessary. And that really, I think, is their priority for those first 6 months, especially because it's a very, very dark time in both Lottie and Penny's life. But it still doesn't excuse anything that Lottie does because she can't step up when she's supposed to. And then after that, she doesn't acknowledge what she's done. She just rug sweeps it, which I think is something that is really common in families. And it's something that we don't talk about a lot. And I've gotten a lot of mail about the emotional abuse aspect of this novel and the neglect and about, the idea that setting boundaries is really important, even as a teenager. And I've felt really rewarded about that because that really was, the point, which is that you are allowed to set boundaries, even with your parent. You are allowed to be like, you are hurting me. I need a break from you, and that can be a really difficult thing to do as a teenager because you feel so powerless. And because in a lot of ways you are powerless because you're a minor and the laws are not built to support you. They're built to support your parents and their control of you. And that can be great. And that can be really, really bad if you have an abusive parent.
Yeah, there was a quote that actually highlighted and sent to Amanda as well about it. It was, I brought it up. It's only a lifelong journey if she can actually commit to it. I don't know if she can. I don't even know if I want her to. If it's better that we heal together, growing closer instead of healing and growing apart. I think sometimes growing apart can be the healthiest option. And we've talked before in similar sort of styles where you need to cut the toxic element out of your life. One of our favourite tropes is found family. And certainly with Anna and Tate and Megan and Remy, who we adore, it's a found family, and which just makes us squee, and that Lottie is not a healthy person for Penny to be around. Anna can associate with Lottie fine, but you said something there that I'd never considered, and I berated Anna in the main episode for not having a conversation with Lottie about why the hell you're treating your daughter like this, considering Anna's relationship with Tate is so good. And love that, by the way, actual communication and trust between a parent and a child. Mwah! In a YA book. Oh, wonderful. What you said was that it's like Marion and Anna got together and said, I'll take one, you take the other, let's keep these people alive. I never considered in those terms. I always thought Anna was the best place to have that conversation with Lottie and say, sort your shit out, you're a parent, you're an adult, you need to take care of your daughter and you also need to take care of yourself. What can we do? But at the same time, Anna's going through a lot.
I was about to say, give Anna a fucking break.
Yeah, poor Anna. She is. She's going through a lot. And that was really at the forefront of my mind. And I think also Anna I think that we don't get to see Anna as much in the book because of course she's recovering from a liver transplant. And so we get to see, we see her mostly through Tate, and we see her mostly through Tate's eyes. And Tate absolutely puts her mother on a pedestal. And I mean, it literally is, there's a line in the book where she says that most people would think that Tate was the burden, or that Anna is the burden, but Tate views herself as the burden. And I thought a lot about it. I thought a lot about these, like I wrote a lot about Anna and Lottie's teenage years. Just in my pre-writing phase to really just do it. And I'm like, this is going to be useful if I ever turn this into a television show.
I want to read that. Let's make that happen. Let's make that happen.
I know. And so I really dialed into their dynamic, which I don't think that we see as much in the book, but is informed by all of my pre-writing. And Lottie really is very much like Penny was before the accident. Very daredevil-y, very brash, very very main character energy. And I think that Anna is absolutely someone who doesn't like to rock the boat. And I think that Tate calling her out on that in that scene before the surgery, where she basically is like, there shouldn't be sides, this is ridiculous, is absolutely a wake-up call for Anna. But we don't get to see the wake-up call as much as perhaps we might have wanted to, because the book ends at the end of the breaking of the cycle instead of following through to see what happens next, because I really wanted the reader to decide what happened next. Does Penny repair her relationship with her mother? Does she go off to college and end up, going no contact with her? And how would that even work if she is still in a relationship with Tate and Anna and Marion are part of her family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. I really wanted the reader to kind of decide that, but it is such a book about cycles and about breaking cycles and about being caught in cycles, cycles of almost kissing, cycles of grief, these cycles of abuse. That I really wanted to end the book on the breaking of the cycle and the cusp of a new cycle, and kind of like that open-ended unfolding of the new cycle, kind of the ability to have the reader kind of decide what happens next was really important to me. And so therefore I wrote the shortest ending that I've ever written. I normally favor really, really long endings, y'all. Usually people complain about it. And now they're like, it's too short. And I'm like, oh no, I need to find the perfect balance.
Yeah, such a good ending.
We love that, don't we? You've said it before multiple times.
Yes. A book doesn't have to have a happy ending. It can just end, and then you can choose for yourself what happens to the characters. And I don't believe that Lottie gets any better. I don't believe that she gets the help that she needs, and I fully support Penny going off, doing what she needs to do, and she's gonna thrive without her garbage mother.
Oh yeah, in 5 years she's gonna have a thriving rafting business.
Yeah, she is. With her array of Sharpies that I love
her array
so
of Sharpies, her cute little teardrop vintage trailers that she and Megan are gonna remodel.
Yeah, I love it.
Her office stationery cupboard is going to be
it's gonna be gorgeous.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I had some people ask me, it's like, why is the pages ripped out of her bullet journal not dotted? And I'm like, y'all, she doesn't have the money for actual bullet journals. She's writing in a notebook. She's writing in a spiral notebook. Absolutely. She just makes it beautiful. She doesn't need the fancy stuff to make it beautiful.
No. I wish I had the time and patience.
Oh, I love my readers' attention to detail that they even thought of that, though. I'm like, that is such a cute thing to think about. And I'm like, I purposely asked for paper that looked like it was ripped out of a spiral notebook, because I figured that was probably what she would have, because if she is going to spend money on anything for her bullet journal, it's going to be collage materials or really nice markers, but probably not the paper as much, because especially now that she can't draw as well as she used to, and she's kind of transitioned into collages because the fine art skills have been really lost.
Yeah. Oh, it's so heartbreaking, but it was so pretty. It was so beautiful. Oh, love it. Oh, Claire, do you want to ask the next question? I feel like you really loved this part of this book.
With every food aspect, apart
every
from
food thing that was ever written, even the questionable cake.
Even the questionable cake. We mentioned brownies and pretzel in the summary. We both went, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, we latched onto pretzels for a while.
We really did, and I'm still craving. So I mean, there's a lot of food detail, a lot.
There are. Everyone always says that I make them hungry when I write my books, and it makes me laugh.
You did.
You made us hungry while we were reading the book, and then we got hungry again while we were summarizing the book. Yeah. So that tells you a lot about how much food is mentioned. So, in the book, what is the one thing you are eating from the book? You can only select one. And what is a proper way to make a pretzel for you? Or do we need to go to your grandma's cookbooks?
So the lemon cake is definitely my favorite thing, and I actually regret not putting the recipe in the book. I should have put it in the back. And I didn't think of it at the time, and I should have. I think I'm going to put it in my newsletter one of these times so everyone has it. But the pretzel, so the pretzel is a yeast dough. This is me being like really technical baker girl. And the pretzel is a yeast dough that you have to boil and then bake. And so it can be really tricky. I have found that if you add a little bit of honey to the dough, it can work really nicely. Same thing with brownies, actually. If you add honey to brownies, even just brownie mix, they come out much more moist. Like I would add maybe a third cup. A little bit of replace, maybe change the oil up a little bit in addition to that, because it is like you're adding more liquid. But if you want really, really moist brownies, honey and pizza dough. If you put honey into pizza dough, I used to work at this pizza place that did a great sourdough pizza, and I used to make all of the dough, and we used to add honey to it, and it was really good.
My mum's trying to conquer sourdough, and she's doing a really, really good job. Mum, I know you're listening. Can I have some more sourdough? Thanks. She will probably take on that tip and try it. She's got 2 sourdough starters. One's called Baby and the other one's called Baby 2.
Oh, I love it.
And she goes, I'm just going to feed the baby. Okay.
That's wonderful. But yeah, the pretzel dough, I thought that the running joke that the one prep cook can't get the pretzel right was really funny.
I loved it so
Pretzels,
much.
They're hard to get. They're hard to do it. In the brew pub menu, as they say in the Leverage television show, the brew pub menu is one of the hardest menus to get right, because you're pairing with all of these different kinds of beer, which is even harder to do than wine often, because there's so much more variety and like all of this stuff. We have a great brew pub, near us, 50 minutes away, because I live in the forest. And they have an amazing pretzel, and that's totally the pretzel that I stole for the book.
So what was he doing wrong in your mind?
In my mind, I think that he is overworking the dough.
Shocking! How dare you?
Yeah,
and so I've watched enough Bake Off to know that
is something that that Anna, like, she's busy in the kitchen. She's maybe not paying attention to how much he's working the dough, and it's probably a thing that she's like not listing the time of how you have to. Like, I know that her recipe is like probably like really, really exacting, but it might not list the time that he has to work the dough. I think that he's overworking the dough, and that gives it a less airy consistency and much more gummy, which is never good.
I've watched Bake Off. I know what that means.
Gotta love Bake Off.
Oh. Claire, the next question was yours too. You should ask it as well.
Okay, so the stupidest thing I've ever won at a raffle was at Preston Park, and the raffle ticket cost me 10 pence. Tells you how long ago, inflation. And it was a dustpan and brush, which I sold to my mum for 50 pence. Stupidest thing ever.
I love your entrepreneurial spirit, though.
I need to get my money back.
Talk about making lemonade out of lemons, though.
Yeah. I made lemon cake instead. What is the best and or silliest thing you have ever won at a raffle? And please say it's Barry the best.
I wish I had actually ever won a raffle. I don't think I've ever won a raffle. The only thing that I can think of that I won was a pie eating contest when I was like 10.
Yes.
Ooh, nice.
And I got like a stuffed bunny for it.
Oh,
it's very prestigious.
But I remember the pie eating contest. My mother has a great picture of me like with pie all over my face, like lifted up. But they tied our hands behind our back, and we had to eat the pie with just our faces.
That's so American.
That. We're very obsessed with blackberries where I come from, because there was this crazy pioneer man who planted blackberries all around the West Coast, and that's why we all have invasive blackberries everywhere, apparently.
Yeah,
the fact that I learned a few years ago.
Yeah, there were blackberries all over the place in Seattle. Just walking down the street.
Down the West Coast. It's because of this one dude, apparently. He planted a bunch of blackberries.
One asshole.
That's why we have them on the West Coast. But yeah, so blackberries are like a big thing, and marionberries are a big thing also where I went to college, because I went to college in Oregon. And marionberries, even though marionberries were actually invented in Davis, I think, UC Davis, which is in California. Like the farm college of UC Davis invented the marionberry, which is a larger, more tart type of berry, and I would say that it is superior to the blackberry.
I found the name of the ass hat. who brought blackberries.
The blackberry asshat?
Luther Burbank.
Interesting.
There you go.
I have
Thank
not
you,
ever
Google.
won anything ridiculous.
I know.
I've like never even won a game of bingo in my entire
Bingo is
38
so
and a
fun,
half years
too.
of life. I have never won a game
The
of bingo.
last thing
so
I won
disgusted.
was a chocolate teddy bear, a lint chocolate teddy bear at Christmas
that sounds yummy.
at work. And it was due to my vast array of ridiculous Christmas trivia that I know. Because I used to be a trainer and I used to work in engagement many moons ago. So all you ever did was Christmas quizzes. So I just have this knowledge. So every December, suddenly I hear Wham on the radio. I see a Christmas bauble, and then suddenly it's like all this Christmas knowledge comes out. And the only time it's ever been any good was this last Christmas, and I won a chocolate teddy bear. And people are like, how did you know the answer to this one? I'm like, it just happens.
That's amazing. You deserved that chocolate bear. Yeah,
did,
the
clearly.
chocolate's
I
fabulous.
do feel like I was cheating because at the time I was listening to Christmas music as well, and the answer came on in my ears. I was like, oh, very cool. Yeah. I feel like it's something else I wanted to raffle once that was ridiculous. But I mean, do you have tombolas in America? What we would call tombolas. When I worked on the engagement team, we used to have charity tombolas all the time. So you just get, the strips of raffle tickets, and you'd stick the numbers on everything, except you'd always retain the ones with the 6 on the end, and they're the winners. And it's like
it's excessively British. It's excessively
it's
British.
like it's like the ridiculous form of gambling we used to do at the old office. Like everybody would, oh, there's a tombola, ooh, and then you would make so much money from tombolas and bake sales for charity because everybody was like, oh, it's like the most basic form of gambling we can possibly do that doesn't require a license.
Well, I felt that the tri-tip fundraiser was a very NorCal thing. Like, I didn't realize, again, like tri-tip is like a Santa Cruz thing. It was originated there, like the Santa Maria tri-tip, blah blah blah. But it is like, it's a cut of meat that like not everyone is familiar with, apparently. I'm like, it's so common on the West Coast that it's like one of those things like river rafting that it like didn't really occur to me that it might be a little weird for everybody else. It's a great cut of meat if you eat meat. But it is definitely like a grill meat, which I felt was suited for the fundraiser and the outside atmosphere. It's definitely something that we do a lot. And I mean, it is kind of ghoulish if you think about, because having to raise money to pay your medical bills is a uniquely American thing.
Yeah.
And
I mean, to be fair, the way that it's going in my country, it's very good chance that it's going to happen. And I know I won't get insurance.
I know, it guts me, like the things that are happening to the NHS. And it was actually something that I was worried that it was not something that was going to translate in the UK, the medical poverty aspect of the book. But I was like, I feel like everybody knows that we're all fucked as Americans.
Yes.
I feel like that was like enough context for the context for my UK kids.
No, we get it. And we feel, total solidarity. It's just, to be fair, we've mentioned before, since 2016, the world is fucked.
Yep.
And it's going to take a lot of radicalism. And it shouldn't be radical. It should be common sense.
Yes.
To treat people like people.
Don't be a garbage person. It's not fucking hard.
Humanity and community are two things that we are distinctly lacking, especially as white people.
Yes. Ugh.
Got serious again.
It did. Okay. Well, we only have one other question that's, I don't know, semi-important. I don't know. I want to know what it's like to narrate your own books, and do you love it? Because we enjoyed listening.
Oh, you're so sweet. This one was a challenge for me because this was the first time that it was multi-point of view. And that for me, I don't consider myself a voice actor. Obviously, I am just, I don't even consider myself a pure narrator. I'm an author narrator. I think it would be very difficult to narrate any other book but my own. I would be totally interested to do that someday, but I don't think anyone's going to let me.
Oh.
But narration Narration for me is very important. I get it written into my contracts. So basically they can't say no.
Smart. That's smart.
And luckily I have kind of a young voice for 36, so I sound kind of like a teenager. I have that California drawl, you know. I really like narrating my own work because it gives you a chance as an author to interact with the work in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And it makes you hate all of your bad habits. And it makes you hate how you crafted certain sentences. You're like, why did I do this? It's too long. I'm running out of breath. I've had to say this word, these 3 words together 15 times because I can't get it together. But it allows you to, it really makes me a better writer. It really makes me aware of my quirks, my habits, and then like the things that I need to eradicate from my writing style. And it was a real gift to narrate The Girls I've Been, because then I went and adapted the book for Netflix as a screenplay. And so by the time that I was going into the screenplay, I already knew which lines worked and which lines didn't, and which lines would make Millie Bobby Brown hate me because I'm a horrible tongue twister. And I'm like, I'm going to make Millie's life easy for her. So she's so talented, she probably wouldn't stumble over the words anyway.
I'm sure she still appreciates it though.
Exactly. I was like, make it a little, you know, there's certain things that like sometimes you never think about it while you're writing. And then when you're actually in the room, some things are very obviously difficult. And then some things that you will never think of, you're just like, I can't say this word. I can't say it right. No matter how many times I do it. But no, I love narrating. I love being able to interact with the work that way. I love the gift that it gives me with writing, getting to adapt the screenplays, because I feel like it really, really prepares me. And for a long time, narrating the audiobook was my way to say goodbye to the characters, because that was the last time that I interacted with the book. And then all of my author copies go in my garage because I have dogs that like to eat books.
Oh no.
And I'm like, it's done. It's everybody else's, and I don't have to think about it ever again for a really long time. So it was my way to say goodbye. Now I keep finding myself in very wonderful opportunities to adapt my own work for film and TV. So it's no longer the strict goodbye that it used to be narration, but it definitely is like the thing that I view is like the closing of the writing period. And it's like my way to say goodbye and my way to interact with the work the last time. It's also the only time that you also catch all of the typos that everybody missed. And they're always and by then the book is already off to the printer, so you can't change the physical book. You can only change the ebook, and you can only change the audio as you're doing it, and you're sitting there the entire time just going, I hate this. How did I miss these things? And it's nobody's fault. Everybody misses things. Like no matter what, almost all books have typos in them. My first print run of The Girls I've Been is literally missing a word on the cover copy. And no, not one person has ever said anything to me. I literally think that everybody's brain fills in the word, just like everybody's brain on the publishing teams filled in the word. 7 to 10 people looked at the cover copy. I looked at the cover copy like 6 different times, and I did not catch the missing word. I know. Like sometimes your brain genuinely fills in those things. This is why I always advise writers to change the font of their drafts in between revisions. It will absolutely allow things to pop out at you that you have not seen the first time around because you're so used to the font. Sometimes changing the color can also be helpful.
That is a really good tip.
Yes, those
I don't
are
remember
very
who
good
gave
ideas.
it to me. It was not my. It was absolutely not my origin. Someone gave it to me, and I can't remember who because I would love to credit them. And it's been a great tip. It really.
I'm going to use that.
Seriously. And I also hear that like if you there's some sort of font that makes you type faster apparently or write faster, but I haven't tried that one and I can't remember what it was.
What is this magical font?
Helvetica or Courier, but I don't think that those are the right ones. Someone will tell us when this podcast goes live. They will know.
Someone will know.
I'm Googling it.
That's amazing.
I
Claire
feel
will
like
know.
I need to know
Give her
this.
a handful of minutes. She'll know.
Yeah. But no, narration is so fun. I advise any writer who is
Comic
interested
Sans?
in doing
No.
it to ask. Is it? It is Comic Sans. You're right. It is. It's some very, very silly letter. Yeah. That's what I've heard, that if you write in Comic Sans,
Despite how much despise the typeface, it turns out that if you use Comic Sans to your draft, you will write more and you'll write faster.
Yeah.
I know Comic Sans is good for dyslexia.
Oh, that's so interesting. I didn't hear that. I've never heard that before.
That's what when you did my first ever teaching qualification way back when. It's so old it doesn't exist anymore. But the dyslexia thing was use Comic Sans on computers, and blue paper in print.
That's fabulous. That's really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
You know, there's so like I feel like as a writer you like get attached to fonts. Like I do everything in Times New Roman the first time around. And then you have to change it and it like looks bad to you at first. It's just like your soul like rejects it. You're like, this doesn't look right.
I'm a Calibri girl at the moment. I'm really enjoying Calibri as a font.
No,
Calibri is fun. It's really pretty.
I am a Century Gothic.
Wow.
All the time.
Fancy.
I know.
Your fangs are showing again.
Yes, they are.
I love it. Oh font.
Goodness.
Everybody has a favourite font, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
And there's so many of them. It's really amazing to think that the same 26 letters can just be people are art and artists. Like I said, I can't draw. So I will like watch Instagram videos of like people drawing and I'm like, this is
yes, it is. And then you think, I can do that.
Like,
and you can't.
My brain just does not work that way. And I'm just like, I want to know how your brain works. And I'm sure there are people who like want to know how my brain works. You know, they want to know how writers' brains works and all of that. That's why I literally record my writing day on my Instagram. But like, no, like art seems to me like just this magic thing. And I don't want to trivialize it because I know a lot of work goes into becoming that good and making it look that easy. But just, I love watching those videos that like just starts with a blank page and then by the end there's just, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Have you seen the ones where the zoom in and keep going in, the digital art, and to the minutest of details? That astounds me, that level.
No, just the way that the brain breaks apart those things and understands the color and understands oh God, it fascinates me. Like brains are amazing.
True, very true.
Oh, okay. So we've asked all of our very important questions. And so now we like to end every author interview by asking if there's anything that you want to tell us that you're excited about. It doesn't have to be book related. It can be anything in the world that you're excited about, but share all of your great things.
I'm excited about two things. Personally, I'm very excited because I'm about to have endometriosis excision surgery. Oh. And that makes me really happy. It's been quite a long journey for me. And then book-wise, I'm really excited about my 2024 release, which is not announced yet. But I will say that it is a pure thriller. Yes. It is a YA thriller. Nice. And it is set in the woods. There are a lot of booby traps.
Yes.
And there's one-eyed dog named Turbo.
Oh,
sold.
Wait, does he make it?
Oh no, the dog does not die. Dogs never die in my books, y'all.
Very good.
Ever.
Love
That's
it.
my
Love
rule.
it.
No, I just pitched a television show and there's a dog in it. It's based on one of my books that has the dog in it. And the first thing that I said to my producers is like, I have one rule. The dog is not allowed to die. And they're like, we are fine with that.
Thank goodness. Oh, I can't handle it. But
no, Turbo is a very good girl.
Okay. Yes.
I'm sold on Turbo alone.
Yes.
Oh,
I mean,
Turbo
booby traps second.
She's super fun. She's a rescue dog, very scrappy. And she knows several very interesting commands.
Oh, I love it already. I love Turbo already. So what I'm hearing in this is that you're going to at least come back then when that book comes out and you're going to join us again on Fictional Hangover as we talk about it.
Of course.
Excellent.
I would love to chat about it. I can't wait to talk about it.
We might have to do a theme purely based on having a pet in the book. Some kind of animals.
We will.
I do think that we will be getting an announcement probably within the next 2 months. We're finalizing the cover right now. So yeah, so we should be getting an announcement sometime in the next few months.
Excellent. This is
exciting. You guys will have more information.
Yes. Ooh, I love it. We'll share it all over the place too. Fictional Hangover loves to shout about things that they love. So Yay.
We adopt every single guest.
We do. We have such a big family now, and you're a part of it, so
sounds
deal
good.
with it.
Womp womp.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. We really appreciate you.
Me.
It's
been
been
so
a
much
blast.
fun.
Yes, we loved it. We've been waiting for this book since Cheryl contacted us in August of last year.
Love Cheryl.
I did it.
Such a gem.
Yes.
We love Cheryl so much.
Yes, thank you, Cheryl.
Yeah, thanks, Cheryl.
Love you, Cheryl.
Okay. Thank you so much. Can you tell everyone where to find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me at Sharpe Girl on Twitter and at Forest of Arden on Instagram. Don't bother to go to my website. It hasn't been updated in like 8 years because I'm lazy.
And honest.
Very honest, yes.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Amazing.
And you can sign up for my newsletter on my link in my bios if you want to get updates and natterings about behind the scenes publishing stuff. I will break down book proposals. I break down pitches. I break down all sorts of stuff that you might not normally see like on Twitter or
that's fantastic.
Like beyond the query letter, basically.
And
That
you're going to
sounds
share
really
your
interesting.
lemon cake recipe there as well, you said.
And I will send you
Yes.
guys the lemon cake recipe.
I'm looking
Good.
forward to making
Good,
it.
good. All right.
It's very good.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. And now we're going to say goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
So that's it for this bonus episode of Fictional Hangover. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire.
Join us next time as we discuss Eclipse by Stephanie Meyer. Look out for our Would You Rather polls on social media. Don't forget about our book club and monthly challenges on Facebook. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite Fictional Hangover themed merchandise, and become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another book.
You can find us at fictionalhangover.com, follow us on Instagram at fictionalhangover, find us on Facebook at facebook.com/fictionalhangover, and on Twitter at fictionalhangover, no ER. If you like this episode, check out our others, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe so you don't miss out. And finally, special thanks to Liz Emerson for her music. You can find her on Facebook and Patreon. Thanks for listening.